Everyone in Sterling City knew my husband from the elite circles was having an affair, and with another man. They expected me to hide at home and cry, but he simply threw the divorce papers in front of me. Here's 50 million, sign it. I signed without hesitation, then turned around and attended a high society gala. My ex-husband mocked me with a cold glare, spending millions for a ticket. You were really just putting up a facade. But what he didn't know was that I was the host of the gala, and his fiancée was merely an actor I had hired. My father-in-law must truly be senile, letting someone as clumsy as you into the haze. Eleanor looked at me disdainfully as I knelt on the floor, wiping. Clean this up properly. Eleanor picked up a glass of juice from the table and poured it over my head. Yes, I gritted my teeth and replied, picking up a rag to wipe the juice dripping from my head. My son is back. Eleanor was overjoyed, hurrying to greet the tired man. Marcus looked at me coldly, as if I were a stranger. What happened here? Well, she clumsily broke a cup, so I told her to clean it up. He snorted coldly. You are utterly useless. You can't even manage this small task. I must have been blind to marry you. My heart was pierced, it felt as if an invisible hand was squeezing it, the pain so intense I could barely breathe. If the Vance hadn't supported Hayes, they would have gone bankrupt 5 years ago. Now that Vance has fallen, they treat me as if I'm worthless. What are you stopping for? Can't you see how dirty this floor is? Are you blind, or are we not feeding you enough? Eleanor slapped me, sending me reeling. I hadn't eaten all evening, and the blow was too much. I collapsed onto the floor. Get up, stop pretending. Eleanor frowned and nudged me with her foot. Seeing my lack of response, she suddenly panicked slightly. Leave her be, Marcus said, and with a long stride, he turned and went upstairs, not even sparing me a glance. Eleanor swallowed and then left too. I was left alone, lying on the floor in the vast living room. I don't know how much time passed, but I felt like I was burning up. My mouth was painfully dry, and I felt completely disoriented. Miss. Someone patted me. It was one of the household staff. Martha, who had just finished cleaning the kitchen, came out and was startled to see me collapsed on the floor. She hurriedly helped me into her room. Drink some water first. Martha gently patted my back, seeing how eager I was to drink. Slow down. If my daughter hadn't had that accident, she'd be your age now. I really don't know what Marcus is thinking, to treat a good girl like this. Martha, thank you, I said hoarsely. Martha, Eleanor's sharp voice came from outside, accompanied by urgent knocking. Have you seen Grace? Grace is in my room. I saw she had a fever and was suffering, so I gave her some water. Martha explained nervously. Eleanor was always cruel and sharp-tongued, she might even punish Martha for this. A fever. Eleanor pushed Martha aside and pulled my weak body off the bed. I think you need a good lesson. How dare you rest when your chores aren't finished? Eleanor yanked my hair, forcibly dragging me from the staff's room out the door. Reflect on your actions out here. Don't come back until you've understood your mistake. Eleanor watched me curled up, groaning in pain by the door, then slammed it shut with a bang. Outside, a torrential rain was falling, and mud, mixed with my wet hair, clung to my face. I curled into a ball, hoping to preserve a shred of warmth. In a daze, I looked up at the brightly lit room on the second floor. A man stood on the balcony, his face obscured, smoking a cigarette and watching me indifferently. My 10 years of love for Marcus, 5 years of companionship, shattered completely at that moment. When I opened my eyes, I was lying in the utility room. Marcus had ordered someone to throw me in here, claiming I was an eyesore for the haze. Eleanor wouldn't allow the staff to bring me food or water, so I barely survived the high fever last night. Dragging myself to the kitchen, I hurriedly found some leftover bread from breakfast and wolfed it down with water. Suddenly, my body stiffened as I heard a woman's laughter from outside the door. I rushed out the door, staring in disbelief at the scene before me. Marcus had brought a woman back. Marcus, what is the meaning of this? I asked, desperately trying to control my shattered emotions, though my trembling hands already betrayed my pain. Don't you understand? I'm tired of you. Just face the facts and get out. Marcus impatiently tugged at his tie, then carried the woman upstairs. No matter how cold or unreasonable Marcus and Eleanor had been before, I always deluded myself into believing I still had a place in this family. But now Marcus had brought someone else home, implicitly slapping me hard across the face and trampling my self-respect underfoot. Marcus, you are truly heartless. My heart was numb, devoid of sensation from the pain, and I let tears stream down my cheeks. I wiped away my tears haphazardly, and walked to my cramped room to pack my belongings, and leave the haze. It was a dim room, filled with the smell of mold. I opened the wardrobe. It contained only a few meager pieces of clothing. In the drawer, there were still photos of Marcus and me from when we were newly married. The woman in the picture was smiling beautifully, while the man had a straight face, his lips a thin line. It turned out Marcus had never loved me. Only I had foolishly immersed myself in this lie, unable to break free. I had so few things, I finished packing in no time. Looking at the few clothes and photos in my backpack, I felt a sudden sense of unreality. I had lived in the haze for 5 years, yet left no trace behind. From now on, I would have no connection to the haze. As I stood at the main gate of the haze, Eleanor happened to return. Where are you going? Are your chores done? Eleanor raised her hand to slap me, but with a cold expression, I grabbed her hand midair. I'm no longer serving the haze. Go back and tell Marcus that I don't want him anymore, I find him repulsive. You! Eleanor exclaimed, furious, staring at me in disbelief. Let's see how you'll survive after leaving the haze. Don't ever think about stepping foot in the haze again. I raised my hand and slapped Eleanor. Don't think you can still treat me like dirt. Then, I left the haze without looking back. After leaving the haze, I took a taxi back to the Vance, which I hadn't returned to in 5 years. Since the family's decline, the manor had fallen into disrepair. My father's death had been a huge blow to Susan. Liam had taken over the company, but he spent all his time partying, and the company's performance plummeted. Grace, what are you doing here? Susan asked, surprised to see me. I've come back to stay for a while, I said calmly. Liam, my brother, returned home for dinner after a long absence. At the dinner table, I directly explained my purpose. You've been at Vance for so many years, it's time to step down. Are you out of your mind, Grace? Vance was left to me by Dad. What business does a woman like you have meddling in this? Susan looked at Liam with some concern. Facing my furious brother, I calmly said, how much company funds have you embezzled, thinking you could hide it from the board of directors? Don't forget how many shares of Vance I hold. I believe the shareholders' meeting is tomorrow, isn't it? If you are smart, you'll tell them you are stepping down tomorrow, and I might still be able to save you. Grace, he's your brother, Susan said anxiously. My brother? I sneered. It's because I've been too kind to these people that they've walked all over me. Whether it was the haze or this brother of mine. The next day, Vance was smoothly transferred into my name. I used the remaining funds from the Vance family to establish a new company, and in just 1 year, it climbed into the upper echelons of Sterling City's business world. Meanwhile, it was revealed that Marcus, the young master of the Hayes family, was dating a man and planned to marry abroad. While I was working, an unfamiliar number called. Meet me tomorrow at the cafe. Marcus' low voice came from the other end of the line. I curled my lips into a smile. I couldn't be more thrilled. Marcus arrived at the cafe and, without a word, threw an agreement onto the table. Here's 50 million, sign the divorce papers. I casually flipped through the agreement, but didn't immediately take Marcus' bank card. After a long while, I looked him in the eyes and asked, Marcus, did you ever love me? Marcus Adams' apple bobbed. Never. This was the cafe where we had our first date. He had specifically chosen it. You truly are heartless, Marcus. I readily signed my name on the divorce papers. Marcus was startled to see how readily I signed. He seemed to feel a prick in his heart, an indescribable displeasure. But he managed to hide it. Take the money. From now on, we have no connection. Marcus took the agreement and turned to leave. I watched his, retreating back and spoke, Marcus, you don't think this is over, do you? What you owe me, what you owe the Vance family, I will make you pay back every single bit. Marcus seemed genuinely fond of the man. Not long after the divorce, he hastily began planning their wedding. Eleanor, aiming to spite me, even sent me an invitation. I held the invitation in my hand, and allowed a cruel smile to form on my lips. Since the Hayes family, as the hosts, had invited me, his ex-wife, why wouldn't I attend? When the date arrived, I showed up as promised, bringing a grand gift for the Hayes family. Isn't that Marcus's ex-wife? Why is she here today? I heard Marcus dumped her. She probably couldn't stomach being overshadowed by a man. My appearance caused the venue to erupt. People all around were gossiping, but I paid them no mind. I scanned the room before finally spotting Eleanor, smiling jovially at the center of the venue. Eleanor accepting his husband-to-be. Never in a million years. If his husband-to-be's family hadn't been so progressive, and if they didn't have such powerful backing that could elevate the Hayes family's standing, Eleanor would have already broken Marcus' legs. Eleanor, congratulations. Eleanor's jaw almost dropped when she saw me. I smiled and strode confidently towards her. You have the nerve to show your face here, you truly brazen. Eleanor's amiable expression vanished instantly. She narrowed her eyes and stared at me disdainfully. Ultimately, she's just a low-class, worthless wretch. Eleanor, since you personally invited me, why wouldn't I come? Don't worry, I've prepared a special gift for Marcus. I whispered into Eleanor's ear, deliberately emphasizing the words, grand gift. Eleanor frowned unhappily, looking puzzled. Without waiting for her reply, I found a seat on my own, and the wedding quickly began. And now, please welcome the groom. Guided by the MC, Marcus soon appeared at the entrance, smiling as he strode confidently to the center of the venue. After a long wait, the other grooms still didn't appear, and the McKee's smile became noticeably awkward. Perhaps our other groom is a bit shy and needs a moment. Let's first watch some cherished memories of the happy couple. Everyone then looked towards the large screen behind them. Initially, photos of the two of them were displayed, pictures of birthdays and meals together. They looked very much in love. Then the screen suddenly went black, and then, Marcus' nude photos abruptly appeared. What's going on? Marcus' face darkened, and he quickly told the MC to shut it off. The hall erupted in an uproar, with guests pointing and whispering at Marcus' photos on the screen. Where is everyone? Go see what's happening, shut it down quickly. Eleanor hadn't anticipated something like this either. She hastily urged people to shut down the equipment. The MC, seeing Marcus' clenched fists and bulging veins, and his face growing darker and darker, couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat. After the last photo was displayed, the screen was finally turned off. Everyone, please remain calm. There's been a slight technical error, the MC hastily announced, trying to calm the guests and quiet the excited chatter. Intimate photos appearing at the wedding of a young master from an elite family. A headline like that would instantly spread throughout Sterling City. Just then, a maid ran into the hall, panting, Marcus, it's terrible. The groom has run off. Looking at Marcus' face, which was almost black with rage, I couldn't help but laugh aloud. People were leaving, others were searching. The entire scene was in chaos. In the midst of the chaos, Eleanor spotted me, gloating. Infuriated, she ran over, grabbed my arm, and started to lash out. This was your doing, wasn't it? You must have tampered with something to humiliate Marcus. I spread my hands, feigning innocence. I've been sitting here the whole time, I didn't do anything. There's surveillance footage to prove it. I'll tear you apart. Eleanor shrieked, wildly tugging at my arm and hair. This wedding had completely humiliated her. How could she face anyone again? Don't push your luck, I said, my face instantly turning cold. I pushed Eleanor to the ground, pressing my foot down hard on her wrist. Eleanor, being older, grunted in pain. Seeing that Eleanor wasn't acting crazy anymore, I walked onto the stage, snatched the McKee's microphone, and began to speak. Everyone, please listen to a few words from me. Seeing someone speak, the crowd instantly quieted down. Today is Marcus' wedding, and as Marcus' ex-wife, how could I not attend? I inserted the USB drive into the machine and Eleanor's distorted face appeared on the screen. Don't even think about eating until you've finished mopping the floor today. You've got some nerve. Who gave you permission to eat at the table? Smack. A crisp sound echoed as Eleanor's palm landed on my face. Everyone was stunned. The venue was deathly silent. The seemingly elegant and refined Eleanor was actually like this in private. Eleanor watched the surveillance footage on the screen in disbelief. The surveillance was supposed to be under special supervision. How did she get it? The crowd cast looks of disbelief and disdain at her. Eleanor's face flushed crimson, and overwhelmed with shame, she fainted. In the past 5 years, Marcus has been with 10 women outside and brought 5 of them home. How come I didn't know you changed your preferences? The images flickering on the screen showed different women, but Marcus was the man in every single one. Wow! The crowd erupted in an uproar. Grace, stop making a scene. Marcus cried, furious and exasperated, as he came up trying to snatch the microphone from me. I picked up a stack of photos from the table and threw them at Marcus' face. They were our photos from when we were dating. Marcus, don't be so self-important. It was *I*. Grace, who dumped you? I pulled out my phone and slowly showed Marcus the chat logs within. Grace, how did I do? Good. Then, about that contract for the second. Send someone to sign tomorrow. The other party was clearly ecstatic, sending several messages of praise in a row. Marcus instantly felt as if he'd plunged into an ice cavern, his hands trembling uncontrollably. I allowed a cruel smile to form on my lips. Marcus, don't be so conceited. Do you truly think you are the only one who understands these tactics? As soon as news of Marcus' scandal spread, Hayes' reputation was severely damaged, and its stock plummeted. The family could only immediately issue a statement claiming the photos weren't authentic, and block their dissemination. This is outrageous. Eleanor shrieked, sweeping everything off the table onto the floor. Is really that capable? I don't believe it. A malicious glint shone in Eleanor's eyes. No matter how damaged Hayes was, it was still stronger than the Vance, which was on the verge of bankruptcy. She wanted Marcus to acquire Vance, and make his former daughter-in-law kneel before her, and beg for mercy. Marcus frowned upon hearing Eleanor's suggestion. While a forced acquisition of Vance wasn't impossible, it would drastically increase the pressure on Hayes and draw ethical condemnation. After all, they had once survived thanks to Vance. Do you want to see that woman overshadow us? Eleanor said, gritting her teeth. Marcus wavered. The next day, I received a contract while sitting in my office. It was a contract sent by Hayes. Boss, should we meet with them? Chloe asked, looking at me with some concern. Meet them? Why not? It's rare to have such benefactors come to us, we should naturally entertain them well. However, we'll change locations tomorrow. I turned to look outside. This was one of the tallest buildings in Sterling City, commanding a view of everything below. The next morning, Marcus and Eleanor arrived at the entrance of Vance. This is Vance? Eleanor asked, frowning as she patted her leather coat. Looking at the rundown building, she felt as though she'd get covered in dust just by standing at the entrance. Marcus said unhappily, Vance was once a major conglomerate. How could it be in such a shabby place? Chloe swallowed and confirmed repeatedly, yes, this is the place. The other side sent us this address. They said Vance was on the verge of bankruptcy and had moved its offices. Marcus didn't ask further, leading Eleanor into the narrow hallway. After many winding turns, they walked for about 10 minutes before finding the office. If they hadn't finally arrived, Marcus would have seriously considered turning back. Come in. A crowd of people instantly surged into the cramped office, filling the already limited space to capacity. You work in a place like this? Eleanor gloatingly mocked me, noting my polite smile. She really is useless. She can't survive without the Hayes. Kneel down and beg us now, and perhaps we'll take pity and spare Vance. Eleanor wore a smug expression, her nose practically in the air. You! Chloe exclaimed, unable to stand it. Just as she was about to speak, I raised my hand to stop her. Enough idle talk. Where's the contract? The person behind Marcus handed out a contract. I flipped through it, then looked up to find Marcus still staring at me. What is it, Marcus? Do you have some profound insight to share? Marcus' gaze was far too familiar, a look he hadn't shown in a long time, one he'd only worn when we were deeply in love. I couldn't help but turn my face away in disgust. If you agree now to sincerely apologize to my mother, I'll spare Vance and let you return to the haze. How about that? Both and I looked at him, in surprise at his words. We both thought he was insane. Marcus, what are you talking about? Everything we are suffering now is because of this woman. I sneered. Marcus, do you misunderstand, thinking that by controlling Vance, you can control me? I readily signed my name on the contract and tossed it to Marcus. Marcus, I recall I made myself quite clear. I dumped you because I found you repulsive. You don't still think you hold any place in my heart, do you? Marcus' face, his true intentions exposed, flushed red, then went pale, before finally turning completely dark. Don't you dare regret this. I lines make you come to Hayes and beg for my forgiveness on your knees. I made a gesture to usher them out. Eleanor simply couldn't comprehend Marcus's behavior. She turned to look at Marcus, and the flicker of obsession in his eyes startled her. Marcus truly was insane. After left the room with his people, Eleanor poured some tea from a small flask without a word, splashing it on my face. Be sensible. Stay away from Marcus. Eleanor left haughtily after delivering her warning. Boss. How could they do that? Chloe cried, looking upset. She'd never witnessed such a scene and was almost in tears, wanting to go out and demand justice for me. They will come back and beg us eventually. I wiped the tea leaves from my face, and seeing Chloe's pained expression, a warmth spread through my heart. How long had it been since someone cared for me, like this? Spread the word, have everyone divest their shares in Hayes, then inform the other two companies. They can make their move now. Marcus looked at the reports in his hand, a vein throbbing on his forehead. Who the hell is targeting Hayes? Marcus, it's bad news. The contract we signed with the other two parties, they are now willing to pay the penalty fee to withdraw. What do we do? Chloe rushed into the office. Marcus, already swamped, had no idea how to respond. Have you consulted with anyone? Are they absolutely determined to withdraw, even at the cost of high penalty fees? Yes, they are, Chloe said, swallowing. A massive amount of Hayes stock was suddenly dumped, and coupled with the hefty penalty fees, Hayes simply couldn't cope. How did your discussions with Zephyr go? Zephyr was a company that had suddenly emerged in the last 2 years, with holdings in multiple sectors. It was rapidly gaining momentum, every company both avoided and coveted it. But the boss was extremely mysterious, never attending any banquets. Now, the boss of Zephyr was suddenly hosting a grand banquet, and no matter what, he had to get an admission ticket. They said we'd discuss it at the banquet. Marcus sighed in relief. This proved the other party was still open to cooperating with him. Help me prepare. I am bringing a grand gift. Marcus dressed impeccably. His high-end suit fit him perfectly, making him look considerably younger. Is the CEO of Zephyr truly willing to cooperate with us? Eleanor asked cautiously, standing beside Marcus. If they could secure this powerful connection with Zephyr, Hayes wouldn't just be revived, it would ascend even further. After entering, the two of them were stunned by the grandeur. Even, who had been in the business world for so many years, couldn't help but be slightly surprised. The opulent decorations, the high-end, almost irreplaceable foreign liquor, it was clear Zephyr had gone all out. Marcus scanned the room and suddenly spotted a familiar face in the crowd. I was sitting, chatting with others, when suddenly a shadow fell over me from behind. I turned around and saw Marcus, but I wasn't surprised. See you later, I gave a polite smile to the person beside me and then left. Wait, Marcus said, reaching out to grab me. Is there something you need, Marcus? Marcus frowned, looking at me, dressed head to toe in luxury goods. There was no man standing beside me. You spent millions buying an admission ticket to Zephyr banquet. When did you become so materialistic? Since I wasn't accompanied by a man, Marcus naturally assumed I had used the 50 million to buy the admission ticket. That's none of your business, Marcus, is it? With a cold face, I tried to pull his hand away, but his grip was too strong, I couldn't break free. If you're willing to admit you were wrong now and apologize to my mother, how about I let you work at Hayes? Vance is bankrupt. What other leverage do you have? Marcus's expression softened. I can put past grievances aside and take you back. We can cultivate our feelings anew. I sneered. What kind of affection is that? Always thinking of your mother. How did I not see you were a mama's boy back then? You were indifferent to all the suffering I endured at the Hayes. What? Does the great Hayes family lack a housekeeper? Marcus' face was ashen. Don't be ungrateful. Without the Hayes, what can you do with just a pretty face? Since you are going to rely on a man anyway, why not? As spoke, he reached out to touch my face. Grace. A sharp voice brought Marcus back to reality. Realizing he had lost his composure, he sheepishly withdrew his hand. You lowlife. Didn't I warn you not to go near Marcus again? Eleanor shrieked. She had gone to the restroom and upon returning, saw Marcus' actions and was absolutely enraged. Eleanor, please mind your words. Marcus was trying to harass me. I don't mind calling security to have him removed. Eleanor gave me a scathing look. You're wearing knockoffs and have the nerve to embarrass yourself here. Can't make it on your own, so you are desperate to marry just any man here. Whether I can make it or not, you'll find out soon enough. I gave Eleanor a smile and walked away without looking back. We'll talk about you later, Eleanor said, twisting Marcus' arm before pulling him to find a seat. The banquet soon began, and the lights in the hall dimmed. And now, please welcome the CEO of Zephyr to deliver a speech. Amidst the applause, the curtain slowly opened. As and Marcus craned their necks to see the person on stage, their eyes widened like saucers, and their jaws nearly dropped. Grace is the CEO of Zephyr. Is this world too surreal? Boss, these are the contracts from the other companies. The banquet's agenda was simple, it was merely an event designed to facilitate corporate partnerships. The companies below were eager, wishing I would directly name them for a partnership. A contract from Hayes. Is that the Hayes that's supposedly on the verge of bankruptcy? Marcus and Eleanor flinched when their company was mentioned. And the other CEOs, unaware of the inside story, cast scathing looks at them. Who didn't know that gaining the favor of Zephyr now was equivalent to securing a top position in Sterling City's business world? Yes, Marcus replied dully. I like the contents of your contract very much. Come to my office to discuss the details. I gave them a triumphant smile, and watched as they scurried into my office like obedient puppies. Ho, Eleanor stammered, cautiously speaking as she saw me sitting at my desk without saying anything. Oh, so quick to change your tune now. Weren't you calling me a lowlife and a worthless wretch just moments ago? I watched Eleanor with amusement, seeing her shrink like a timid quail. Are you truly willing to partner with Hayes? Do you still feel something for me? Marcus asked, looking at me hopefully, eager for my answer. When did I ever say I was willing to partner with Hayes? Is a company in such decline even worth my investment? But you just now. Eleanor said, looking at me in disbelief. I merely said I was willing to talk with you, not that I would partner with Hayes. Paying such hefty penalty fees must be quite unpleasant. Walden, do you agree? I rested my chin on my hand, and tapped the table with my left index finger. You did this, Marcus instantly understood. What will it take for you to let go of the Hayes family? It is not that I am unwilling to let go of the Hayes family, it is that the Hayes family Walden T let go of me. I told you, Marcus, what you owe Vance, what you owe me, I will make you repay 1,000-fold. Grace, I'm begging you. For the sake of our past as relatives, please save Hayes, Eleanor said, her voice filled with emotion, even kneeling down to beg me. Relatives. Why didn't you say that, when you made me go 2 days without food, or when you left me in that rainy night? Is it meaningful to act so hypocritically now? I know you resent me. It's all my fault, Eleanor said tearfully. She was truly panicked. She had thought they could revive themselves through Zephyr, but it turned out to be another bottomless abyss. Smack. A crisp sound echoed as Eleanor slapped herself. Please, I'm begging you, save the Hayes family. Eleanor kept slapping herself, while begging, imploring me to save Hayes. I watched the pitiful woman before me, unmoved. Mom, Marcus said, looking like he couldn't bear it. Grace, Marcus said, gritting his teeth and kneeling before me. Please, for the sake of our 10 years together, save Hayes. Watching the proud man kneel before me, I felt an immense sense of triumph. I had only seen Marcus kneel twice, the first time was at our wedding and the second was now. I opened my mouth and pronounced their doom. Hayes, I want you to watch it perish. After Enterprises went bankrupt, many of the staff at the Hayes left. Eleanor's temper worsened day by day, and the staff couldn't stand it, so they all resigned one after another. Miss, can I really work for you? Martha asked, looking at the contract in her hand, flattered and surprised. She didn't understand the clauses, but she knew her mistress was offering a very high salary. Martha, you helped me so much back at the Hayes. What's this little thing now? If you hadn't helped me ask Uncle for assistance back then, I wouldn't have even gotten the Hayes surveillance footage. Miss, thank you so much for accepting us. From the moment you entered the Hayes, I knew you were a good person. Martha looked at me gratefully. Everyone who resigned from the Hayes, I hired them to work at my home or company. These people who had once shown me kindness at the Hayes, now it was my turn to repay them. After leaving the company, I returned to my old campus. At the campus lookout point, letters Marcus and I had written to each other were still buried. Wildflowers bloomed everywhere, but I stood alone among them. The wind rustled my skirt, and for a moment, I seemed to see the boy who had once smiled, and reached out his hand to me. I dug up the letters buried under the tree and burned them. Those once sweet memories had become like vine-like restraints. Only I knew that now, I was truly free.